and welcome back to Vanircreations tutorials. This week we're going to be making this huge suncatcher, mooncatcher wall hanging with agate slice. There will be a kit for this tutorial and that will be linked down below. We will also have all the materials listed for this up next. So for your first step, get your macrame string and your 18-inch hoop, moon hoop, and wrap the end of your string around the end of your moon shape and just do a normal overhand knot, but you're going to have to leave about 10 centimeters. So then at the end you can wrap this and glue it with your glue gun. Now when you've done that, get your macrame string and we're going to start wrapping. Now because you're wrapping a round shape, you need to make sure that you push the inside up so that the lines move with the curve of the moon shape. If you keep going straight, what's going to happen is it's going to go more diagonal. If you keep pushing this side up, it's going to stay straight. That's just a good tip to get a nice wrap on your moon shape. So I'm going to carry on wrapping now, and all I do every time is I just push a little bit on this side. I don't push this side up, just this side. It just makes a much neater wrapped moon shape. And then I'm just going to tie that on there just so it's secure. So can you see now, how it's so neat the way that I've gone round it? It's not diagonal. Don't know if you can see that. So it's not diagonal, it's nice and straight all the way around. So when you've got your hoop, get your glue gun. Mine's been heating up for a couple of minutes now. And we're going to glue the ends on. So what I do is I pull the tied bit off so that now it's loose. Hold it there with my fingers so it doesn't come too loose. And I'm going to just glue a line down and then wrap around the glue and the wood. Do that on both sides. So we just do a line down in glue. Ooh, see that glue there? And then wrap around with the string. And then you wait for that to cool down. and then just cut off the ends. And then we're gonna glue these little bits that should still be like sticking up, we're gonna glue them down as well. On this side, just gonna glue. I use the nozzle of the glue gun to kind of push it into place. And there you go. So the ends are now glued down and onto the web. Now I'm going to do the inside web of the moon. So I'm going to get my thick thread on this spool here and just tie it right on the end. So I'll just tie it in a normal knot. 1, 2, 3, 4 times, then cut off that little extra bit there, not too close because it'll unravel. Then I've got a piece of paper here that I've just cut to 5 centimetres, and this is going to be my measuring gauge. So I'm going to get my thread, just make sure it's wound up a bit tighter than that. And then I find the point where the 5 centimetre piece of paper ends, so there. I go in front, and then you go right round the hoop, and then you're going to go through this loop you've made here. So you go round and through there and pull. Then move your piece of paper along. Again, find the point, round the back, and then back through this loop here, and then pull. Move along, find the point, round the back and through. Move along, find the point, round the back and through. And then just keep doing that all the way around. So now we've come to the end, right at the end now. Go around, so where you've just gone round in the last place, here, go round again. So you're just going to wrap round again in the exact same place where you've wrapped that one. Open this loop up and go through it. And then that won't move. And now we're going to go back this way. And how we do that is we lift up these little segments you've made and we pop this now through there. So you pop this out, the next one now, so you've done that one, and you pop it through. You see the web's already started to be made. The next one, pop this through. The next segment, pull out, pop this through. Keep going all the way to the other end. And when you come right round to the other side, so you've gone through all the segments, now we're going to tie it here at the very last place where you tied it before. So you're going to go around and then do the same thing again. So you go around the exact same place and then through the loop. And I'm going to do it again. Oh no, wait, no. Now we're going to go back round again. So pull the next segment out and pop your thread through like that. And now it's this one that you pulling out, then pop your spool through. Just make sure you can see. Pop that out and that goes through. Pop that out and that goes through. You see the web's getting bigger. Go all the way around to the other side. So now we're going to tie off on this side. So through, round, and then through this loop here. You're basically just securing it at each end each time. Now I'm going to cut that off. I've gone round about 3 times there and then cut it off, just so it doesn't come undone. And now I'm going to thread all my beads here onto this thread, and I'll show you what order I've done it in. So now I've added all my beads to my thread. So how I've done it is, let me just try and show you close, it's a bit hard because it's so long. So I've done 3 little crystal chips in the colour of your choice. I've got black obviously. Then we've got gold, and then a small, a big and a small clear, and then another gold. So I've repeated that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So do it 8 times basically. So 8 times do that pattern. There'll be enough beads in your kit if you get in your kit. Now I'm going to tie this onto the end here, just like we did before. Might need to move the beads along so you've got a bit of thread. I'm just tying it on just as normal. Then I've tied that on there, and then I've just cut the extra bit off. So then you should have your beads tied on like that. And now I'm going to pull out the next segment just as we were doing before. So I'm just going to pull this out here and pop the thread with the beads on through the next segment. Don't worry about where the beads are going because you're going to spread them out in a minute. Just keep going round like we did before. So pull that out and pop through. Pull the next one out and pop through. Right to the other side. And then tie it up on the other end. Keep that on because you're going to do more webs in a minute, but we're just going to spread these out first. So you just spread them through like so. So now I've spread them out. I'm gonna do 3 more sections of webbing. So just pull out the next segment like we have been doing and go through with your thread, just as we did before. Just ignore the beads, pretend they're not there. They don't make a difference to how you web. Right, so I'm going to tie that on, then I'm going to go back, Now tie it on again, and then I'm going to go back again and tie on again.
I am flabbergasted. I don't know how I feel about this. Tommy, what about your protein bar? We've got
protein shake.
These are the views. Oh my gosh. I just landed on that guy's head.
Come out of my head. Please tell me you got that. Come on. Come on. There you go. Good job.
Oh my god. Wow.
Hey, that's my finger.
These are the views. Thumbnail. That is so.
Come on, is that again? Is that it?
You always do. Okay. You always do well. So we have just got some views. I mean, Daniel got to go and get theirs. We're at the top of Mount Pilatus, and I have some chicken nuggets and chips. This plate of food right here, with this drink. Guess how much this cost me? I'm going to tell you anyway. Put your guesses down below right now. Okay, you're not going to touch that, so I'm only going to tell you. Basically, it was nearly £30.
Oh, 52.
Thomas was 52, and you got these beef and sausage. So just a pre-warning.
It's costly.
It's really, really expensive, guys. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I was so shocked at how expensive it is. So you're gonna join my very expensive chicken nuggets and chips. Probably the most expensive chicken nuggets and chips I've ever had. £30. Enjoy, babe. The views are endless, as you can see. So we've just got on a cable cart, and come down slightly. Still on Mount Pilatus. I don't know if I'm even saying that right. But basically we're now going to go to the toboggan, which I'm very excited about. We can go nice and slow on the toboggan, which I think I'll be doing. Just go very, very slow.
We're accelerating to 80 miles an hour.
He's terrified of heights. And when we were on the cable car, I literally thought...
Cable car's attached to two washing lines. Go on. That's what it is. It's two washing lines keeping you up.
I don't know if you can see, but that, yeah. It's not two washing lines.
Tie off here. Just for good luck, because it's the last one, I'm probably going to do it about 5 or 6 times. And then I'm going to cut that off. And that is our web done. And now we're going to do chains. So I've just laid out all the chains and beads and everything that I'm going to be putting onto the chain design. So I'm just going to move this out of the way. And I'm just going to start... We're just going to start with this one. You'll have all this in your kit, or if you're getting your own supplies, I'll talk you through what you need to do for each part. So first we're going to do the first chains that are going to lie like on the outer part of inside of the moon. So get one of your chains like this that'll be in your kit, or if you're getting your own chains, cut yourself one. Then I'm going to get a jump loop. These are the 10mm jump loops. Open it up, pop it through one of these hexagon ones, hexagon prisms, and then pop it through one of the stars here, one of the sides of the stars, and then close that up, and then get another one of your hexagons, open it up, pop it through, and then pop that through the other side. So you should have something that looks like this. Then get another jump loop, open it up, pop it through one of the other sides of the hexagon, doesn't matter which one, and then pop it through the chain on your star or moon, whichever side you've got, and then close that. So then all you have to do now is get one more jump loop, open it up, pop it through the hexagon here, and then close that up. You can use tools as well if it makes it easier for you, but you don't have to, like I always say. So that is the shape. You have got your chain with your moon and your stars on. It's got 3 on it, so make sure you remember. I will measure them and write down what sizes they are. So this one, so these are 10 centimetre moon and star chains, so use one of them and then use a jump loop, the 10 millimetre, and then use your hexagon, a jump loop, a small star, jump loop, hexagon, and another jump loop. So that is the order. And then do 2 of them. Lay them there. Now we're going to do the next one. So grab another 10 centimetre chain, open your jump loop, pop it through the top of your large star, and then through the bottom of your chain here. Then open another jump loop, pop it through the bottom of your star, and bottom of the legs there, close that. Then I'm going to need more jump loops. You'll have all these in your kit before you start. And then pop that through one of these hexagon prisms, and also pop it through that jump loop that you've just put at the bottom of this star, and close. Like that. Another jump loop, open up, pop it through, and then pop it through that one as well. So you're just doing like a double hexagon. Another jump loop, and then attach it to this other chain you've got here. So you should have that. So 10 centimetre piece of chain, jump loop, star, jump loop, hexagon, jump loop, hexagon, jump loop, and then 10 centimetre piece of chain. So that's your second one. And I'm going to do this one now. Right, so now we're going to do this bottom piece here. So this piece of chain it should be about 20 centimetres. It's got 5 moons and stars, and it is about 20 centimetres, so it's double the length of these smaller ones. And we're going to attach them together using a jump loop. So you've got 2 of them. Attach them together. So I've got a star here that's not got a little loop on it, just put it through the actual star. And then put it through a 10 centimetre piece of chain as well. So you should have a shape that looks like this. Oh god, it's so hard to do when it's not. There we go. So you should have a shape that looks like that. Get another one. Add it to a hexagon. And then another hexagon. Oh wait, no. We're doing the moon, so a hexagon and then the top of the moon. Another jump loop. And then to that chain, so you've got just that pattern. And then get another hexagon prism. These prisms are really good to just show the light. They're just good to like catch little bits of light because you're going to put your big prisms on afterwards, but these just catch so much more light when you use them for your sun catchers. Then close that. Ah! So that's got 2 holes in it, can you see? And it's got a prism at the bottom and a prism at the top. It's so hard to do it while it's laid out. Normally I wouldn't do that, I'd just pick it up. Open the jump loop, add it to the bottom of this prism and close that up. So it should look like that. I'm going to add these ones on after when it's on the wall. So now I think we're going to add these to the base. So now what I'm going to do, you should have some string left over. We need to measure the middle point. So get some string and let it go all the way around. And then cut off the end. So make sure that that sits. So you're going to use this as a measuring tool to find the centre. Yep, so I know that that's the exact size. I could probably cut that a little bit more on this side. I know that that piece of string is the exact same length as my moon shape. So now I'm going to measure this. And mine is 110 centimetres. So I know that 55 centimetres is the centre. So that should be the centre there. I'm just going to hold it with my hand. Put this along the side again. Make sure. So yeah, that is the centre there. So I'm just going to get a piece of wire and then wrap that around the centre. So I've popped it around the centre there, and then I'm going to twist at the top. But I'm not going to cut these bits off yet, I'm just going to leave it like that so I know where my centre is. Then get rid of that piece of string. If you can find the centre of your moon just by eye, you can do that, but that's just a little trick that I use sometimes. Just use a piece of string, measure it, and then you can find the centre of your moon. Right, so now I'm going to get my next 2 chains and add them to the top of my moon shape here. I think I'm just going to move this out the way so we've got some space to work with because it's feeling a bit, just a little bit chaotic. So yeah, so we're just going to attach these ones next. So I want to attach them, lay them out whereabouts you think you want them. About there, and then I'm going to use a piece of my wire, a 15 centimetre piece of wire, because we're going to use these later, but we can use them as measuring tools as well. And then I'm going to measure from the centre to whereabouts I think I want my first chain, and that is 9 centimetres. So my first chain to be there, and on the other side as well, so we'll come back and measure it afterwards. So pop that through the top of your loop there on your chain. Oh, it's come off. And then, I need to measure the 9 centimetres again. 9 centimetres, right, so I want it about there. So you can just use a ruler if you want, you don't have to do it the way I do it, but I just find using a piece of wire a little easier. Wrap it round and then twist at the top. Do not cut off the wire until we know we're in the right place, because you may need to undo it afterwards and move it along if you think it's slightly out of place. Then get another piece of wire. Make sure you know where your 9 centimetres is. Or you could just do this. Measure that length between the middle and the one that you've just put, and the middle and the one you're going to just put now. So that I know that that's going to be about there. And then I'm going to add my chain to that. Just want to make it look really symmetrical, so I'm just trying to do as many things as possible so then I can make it as symmetrical as I can. Now we're going to do the 2 small ones at the side. Now add it to whereabouts you want to put it. There, pop it through the top of the chain there. And then add it . Might do it. Let's see. Not too close to the web because we're going to put a prism here. So yeah, that's fine. And then I'm going to. So that was, how many centimetres was that? That was 5 centimetres apart. So I'm going to do it 5 centimetres apart here as well. And add the chain. So they were 10 centimetres from the middle, and then these were 5 centimetres from the middle, but make sure that you're just looking at where it's lying. Is it too close to the edge? Is it not too close to the edge? And then you've got it in the perfect position. Right, now, so now that's looking quite symmetrical, so that's worked just as I wanted it to. What I've done is I've just popped, let me show you. I've just popped some black string on the top, right in the centre, to hang it with. You can use some of the string that you had from wrapping it. And now we're going to add the bottom chains, so these chains that we did before. We're going to add these to either side. So grab another 15 centimetre bit of wire, pop it through your chain at the top, and we're going to add it here. Not too close to the end, probably a centimetre away from the tip, and twist at the back. Just make sure you can see that. Again, we're just going to leave the wires on. We don't want to cut any wires off till the end because we want to make sure that it is correct and symmetrical. Now we're going to add another one to this side, so add the other side of the chain. Can you see how it's, one side of the chain is here. I probably need to put you a bit lower to see that. There we go. Right, so yeah, you can see how the chain, two long chains are going to be added to the moon here. Just like it was how it was set on the table before, that's how we're adding it to the moon base. And we're just going to twist another 15 centimetre piece of wire. And then the chains just sit on the bottom there and go to the centre. I'm just going to push these up so they're not scraping my wallpaper off. Not wallpaper, my paint off, because I don't have wallpaper. And there are all your chains added. So next we are going to add our prisms. Now grab one of your small bowl prisms, these ones. Add a jump loop to it, and then add it to these ones at the end with the small stars. You're just adding it to the very end jump loop. And close it up. And there's your first prism. And now I'm going to do this one on this side. Oh, I need to put you a bit higher so you can see. So now I'm going to add a prism to this one. We've just added this one here. So I'm going to open the jump loop, put it through the prism, suncatcher prism, and then it's just going through that end jump loop there. Oh, it's a bit difficult to close it when it's on a wall like this. I'll show you at the same time. And there you go, that's the two on the end. I've got these small prisms on now, added with jump loops. Now I'm going to do some icicle prisms. So again, get a jump loop, pop it through your icicle. These are a bit harder to add. So when you've put it through the icicle, can you see? It's not focusing. Put it through the icicle and then kind of force it down like that. I'll show you again with the other one. Oh. I'll show you again with the other one. And then get another jump loop. Open it up. Put it through the top of that icicle. And then through the bottom of the chain here. That's one icicle. So that's added to that one there. Now open another jump loop and pop it through your next icicle. So it's like that, pop through, and then force it down to the other side, like that. Then add another jump loop to the icicle. Jump loop at the top of the icicle, sorry, and then through the bottom of the chain here. And there you have your second icicle prism. Next, get one of your large prism, well you should only have one of these large prisms, and then get, this is like a jump loop, it should only have one of these in your kit, maybe one or two if I've put an extra on in there for you, and it kind of splits, and that goes through this one here, so you just kind of split it a bit here, and then thread it through the top of your prism so it just goes on like that. Then get the very bottom of your bottom chain here. I'll show you a bit further, well, I'll show you a bit lower down. So now I'm going to add this. I'm going to open that jump loop at the very bottom, pop it through this loop, so then it's added to the very bottom of the suncatcher. Like so. So now we're going to add this black agate. Get your wire, I've cut a 50cm piece of wire here. Pop it through the top of your agate, just a little, and then twist. like that. Now add a black bead. To the top there. Then we're going to add some beads. I'll let you know what order and how many I've added. I've added the black bead, 2 small, 1 big, and then I've done that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 1 black bead, and then 10 times I've done 2 small and 1 large clear bead on the wire here. So that's how I've done that. So now I'm going to do my feathers. So I'm going to just lay them out like this. So I'm going to get my first 2 feathers. What I try and do is I try and put the same lengths together because they're always different lengths. So I put the most similar lengths together. Get a 50cm piece of thread from your spool. And then wrap your feathers together. So what we're going to do first is tie it. Just a normal knot. Just at the bottom of the stem here. And then I'm going to go around, tie again. Round, tie again, just so it's secure. And then all I'm going to do is wrap like this. And then I'm going to tie on again. So the way I'm tying them on is I go, get 2 fingers like this, wrap it round, all the way around, and then I go through that loop and pull. I'll show you again in a minute. All the way around and pull. Now I've got a little bit of thread left to tie on in a minute, but don't worry if this thread isn't long enough because you can always tie more thread on it afterwards. At least it's secured together. Then get another 50cm piece of thread. Tie it together. Oh, so this bit can be a bit tricky, so just take your time. Take your time. Pull. And then we go around. Just round and through. Pull. So we go round, all the way around the feathers and through. You can literally just tie it in normal knots. And then wrap, 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 wrap. So it's nice and secure. You see that? It's nice and secure. And then just round and pull. Good few times so it's nice and secure again. And there's your first 2. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing with 2 more. So now I've got 2 together and 2 together, so I've got 4 of them all together, of the doubles. And I've just done 2 as singles. Just do it the same way, but you're just doing it with 1 feather. So with the others, you're doing 2 together and then them a 1. So you'll have 4 2 together and 2 1s. And now we're going to attach it to the piece. Now I'm going to add my crystal to the centre. So where you had that, I've just used a piece of string here to hang it. So where you had that wire before, can you see that? Probably need to put you a bit higher. So this centre wire here that's not hanging onto anything, we need to take that off, but don't lose the place where it is. So that needs to come off, and then make sure you keep that place. So get rid of that wire, keep the centre position. You can always measure again to make sure you've got the centre, don't worry. And then I'm going to put that round the back and then put it through the front here. This is my wire that's on my crystal. So you've gone all the way around the base, right round, wrapped it right round the moon, can you see? And now we're going to go around this piece of wire here at the top of this bead. So wrap it around the bead there 3 times. Like that. I'm going to make sure that's definitely central. Right, now check that everything is looking pretty neat, pretty central. And then we're going to start cutting off all this wire. Oh, you're recording. So get your scissors and cut about 1 centimetre away. So make sure they're very tightly twisted, these pieces of wire, and cut about 1 centimetre away from the base, all these sticky up bits. And then bend them all down so they're flat to the base of your moon and there's nothing sticking up. So you can use your scissors probably to do this if you wanted to. And just that one in the middle, just kind of tuck it in. So I've just tucked that in with my scissors. That's looking really neat. And now we're going to do the feathers. So now we're going to attach our feathers. So I'm going to tie my first ones on quite close to the base of the moon. And you can just kind of play around with where you want your feathers. So just use the thread that you've tied it on with to tie it on to the moon base. And then do the exact same on the other side. Try and get them symmetrical as you can. Then get your next one. We're going to go to the same place, but add it. They're just going to lie just underneath them, the first ones. So can you see it's going to kind of like add on to the bottom. So this thread needs to be just below where you've just added your original feather, and then tie it on. Like that. And then do the same on this side. And then your singles should sit just below that. See where that is, yeah? Same on the other side. And then cut off any threads you're not using. Be careful not to cut the wrong thread, I've done it so many times before. But if you do, don't worry, you can always add a bit of thread to it too. So now I'm going to add these little like teardrop prisms, and I'm going to add them to the moons and stars along here on each side. So what you do first is you get your little, they're quite small, little teardrop, open up another jump loop, put it through your little teardrop, and then first I'm going to add it to this one here. So it'll just go inside either a moon or a star, and then close it up like that, and then I'm going to do the rest of them the same way. You should have 6 of these. Some of them can be a bit hard to get through, so all you need to do is just pop it round the star. Sometimes it's hard to get the jump loop through, so if you just put it through and then close it onto it like that. Oh. Okay, I've just done, and it'll still work. Get another jump loop. This one goes all the way through, you see, but sometimes they don't, so you just have to bend it onto it. See, that one won't go through, so what I do is I put it through as much as I can, the jump loop, then I put it the jump loop through the star, and then I force it down to the other side of the teardrop. You just kind of bend it on. Most of them will go through like this. Now you should have. Next you're going to get your 40cm plain chain and your 60cm plain chain. You should have two. So one's a little bit longer than the other. One's 40cm, one's 60. Get your jump loop and then add it to the very top chain here, or to the star if it's easier to just put it around the star or the moon. And then get another jump loop, open it up, add it to the other end, pop them both in like that, and then to the very top chain here, and then close it up.